ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीं अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskars to you all. We are deliberating verses from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Deliberating upon these verses from the 13th chapter. We had been seeing this verse number 7. Here in this Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhag Yoga, these are the set of the verses from verse number 7 onwards until verse number 11. So Bhagavan refers them as Jnana. Shankaracharya interprets as the Jnana Sadhanam, the means to the knowledge. That knowledge being discrimination of Kshetra and Kshetrajna, Purusha and Prakriti. Kshetra, what is Prakriti, and Kshetrajna, knower of the Prakriti, that is Purusha, etc. So, the discrimination between the conscious and material, that is the point. So, to get established into it, firmly established into that knowledge, so these are the means, that is the point. So with these means, that knowledge can be firmly set and established, so that you will never swerve from it. You will attain to the resultant of that knowledge, meaning that self-realization will come through these means. So these are the guides following which you do this contemplation, this nididhyasana of Atman. Nididhyasana of Atman, of this truth, and you realize that truth called that Atman, that consciousness. So this 7th verse as amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, kshantir, arjavam, acharyopasanam, shaucham, stharyam, atma, vinigraha. So many these attributes are told. But they, as I said earlier also, they are not the external behavioral code only. It is to be remembered. This is nididhyasana. This is meditation, contemplation of that Brahman. So how does this behavior are rooted into that consciousness, that Brahman, that Chaitanya? This is to be understood. This is only here is the matter of deliberation, matter of contemplation, matter of understanding. So what is that? So these virtues. So we have seen until Acharya Pasanam also, Shaucham also. So idea of Sthairya and Atma Vinigraha. As I said, these all three, Shaucham, Stharyam, Atma Vinigraha, etc. Even Acharya Pasanam, they are, you will find them in the practice of the yoga. Like Niyama, Shaucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana. In Ishvara Pranidhana, it is also some yogis who interprets as the Acharya Nishtha or Acharya Upasana. So Acharya Upasanam, Shaucham, Stharyam. So which is the so Sthairya is one such quality. It is not only the quality of this physical body, of Sharira, which is attained through asana, steadiness. Through asana, this steadiness of the body. But not only asana, remember that. This pranayama is the another thing which helps in steadying the physical posture of the individual. But if we go further, so if prana disturbs, flow of it is disturbed, you will not be able to keep steady. So prana reinforces that steadiness in your physical posture. But what can disturb prana also? Your vichara or your vichara taranga, your vritti or your mental modification, your mind can affect prana. Don't you see? So if you have something scary thought, so there itself some anxiety and your breathing pattern will change. Isn't it? So ultimately the steadiness of mind only will ensure the steadiness of prana and in turn the steadiness of the physical posture also. So asana, pranayama and this steadiness of the mind, what we call as dhyana, dharana and dhyana. So this dhyana is the steadiness of the mind, one pointed steadiness of the mind. So this sthairya, so therefore all these disciplines, acharya, pasanam, shaucham, stharyam and atma vinigraha. Nigraha, vinigraha. Nigraha means grahanam, means arresting the free flow, free behavior of that mind. That is nigraha. Vinigraha is this V prefix. It denotes visheshana, that special nigraha, control of the mind. Atma nigraha is control of the mind. Atma here is mind. Atman is mind here. So stharyam atma vinigraha, this self-control. So these disciplines, so they will be disciplined not only in the yogic practice, in any discipline, any path, if that individual has to progress spiritually. Raj Yoga especially deals those subjects very particularly, absolutely in bare bones. That's why Rajoga is referred or elucidated. But it would not necessarily, it is exclusive of Rajoga. It can be, it has to be part of any discipline if it is pertaining to spiritual progress and spiritual growth and spiritual journey. So it is not exclusive to Rajoga. This is to be understood. But we find these ideas very clubbed together, as it is we find here in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in Yoga Sutra also. That's why we find a very obvious connection and coincidence. So, Sthairya and Atma Nigraha. So, steadiness of the mind and control of the mind. These two ideas. The person who wish to or establish that knowledge of Atma Jnana, that knowledge of discrimination, that I am not the material, I am the consciousness. That something is material which is I am not. I am rather the consciousness Kshetrajna. So one thing is quite distinct from another. Matter cannot be spirit. Matter cannot be consciousness. Consciousness can never be material. Now, what is the meaning of realizing or establishing firmly this discrimination? What does it mean? That because all our experience is of this delusion, of this intermixing of these two things. What do we consider ourselves when we think of ourselves? Is a mixture of, so who am I? I am this body, mind and spirit combination of this. Whereas what they say, these two things are different. They cannot be intermixed together. They are like as distinct as darkness and light. Where there is light, there cannot be darkness. So Atman can never be, the Kshetrajna can never be Kshetra. Kshetra can never be Kshetrajna. Matter can never be spirit. Spirit can never be matter. So, all our experiences, therefore, when we have this confusion, when we are confounded in this way about the identity and the reality or the nature of this reality, what is happening? From this confusion and from this ignorance, all kinds of, or in one word, what we can say this sansara or prapancha is ensuing. As soon as I think myself exclusively something, what the truth says you are consciousness, you are not material, and therefore you are infinite, you are not finite. And as soon as I get this wrong notion that I am this finite self, exclusive of others, immediately the desire of protection and propagation comes in. As soon as these desires are born out of this ignorance of this exclusive existence, what happens? As soon as desires are born, so karma will ensue. As soon as karma begins, it is bound to have effects, and that will bind you. Karma, karma phala and karma bandhana will automatically come. And this continuous unceasing cycle will be set into motion. So, you have no respite and then you have no escape from it. Everything is rooted and pivoted on one point, on this one confusion, that you are this limited self of this body-mind complex, of this spirit and matter combined. This one confusion. Truth again and again says that you are not such a confusion, you are not such a chita jada granthi. You are not of, not means K-N-O-T, not granthi, ghat. You are not of such chit and jada, matter and spirit. You are no such confusion, you are no such admixture. You are pure spirit always. You require no reason or no instrument or no resource other than your own self to be happy, to exist or to know. Because you are Sat Chit Ananda. It is vain and futile and is the mark of ignorance that you are doing something to exist, to know something and to be happy in this material world. This is your ignorance. If this delusion has to be killed, if one has to be free of this delusion, all actions will cease, all this limited understanding or this ignorance or this confusion of this limitedness will vanish, and you will realize that you are one without a second, pure ever existence, infinite, one undivided, self-conscious of the nature of pure existence, pure knowledge, pure bliss. That Atman you are. So what makes this unsteadiness and or the steadiness and control of the mind difficult? These are the desires. And then your karma, your pravritti and the results or karma phala thereof. This is what makes of ups and dips of your life. Something goes your way and then you are happy, and something doesn't and then you are very sour and bitter, and you chew that cud for a longer time. So happiness you seems like it is gone in a whisk, and you feel misery is like means never going away. And you are again marshaled as if churned within to do something more, to do better, to ensure your more and consistent happiness, sustaining happiness. And that dream that never comes true, because it is not supposed to. It is not designed like that. So there might be periods, there might be spells, but that's it, of good and bad. So this is the nature of this sansara, this prapancha. So sthairya and atma vinigraha. So it will become steady as you will come close to the true nature of the reality, and you would be set loose from this confusion, from this misidentification of yourself as some limited exclusive self having such and such attributes, like you have body, so it is a purush or stri, young or old, or the by birth, to this parentage, to this lineage, to this language, to this nation, etc., etc., etc. All kinds of attributes which comes physically with the body, or by bringing up with your psychological self development. There you are intelligent, you are dumb, etc., etc. So these upadhi, these conditions, these adjectives, they define yourself, means they trap you, it means they limit you, and they work against your true nature, which is infinite. To be infinite, you will have to lose everything of them. And because for the infinite, there cannot be any attribute. Because attributes are always comparative. So in infinite, there is nothing to compare with. How can there be attributes? Isn't it? So intelligent means compared to something else. Your fair complexion, it is compared to something else. You are tall, means you are something compared to something else. So all attributes, all adjectives, they are comparative. Infinite cannot have attributes. because it is one without a second. Without a second. Ekam advityam, there is no dvitiya. That's why without a second. Nothing exists apart from it. That is the nature of consciousness. That is the nature of the ultimate nature of the reality, ultimate nature of the truth. That's what you are. That's what the Shastra says. So as much as you go close to this realization of the self, so this false idea of the self and what ensues from it, what begins and comes from it, that will have its grip loosened over you. And what will happen? Then its influence, it will have a reducing effect. So they will not have that kind of sway, control and power over you. So if you identify yourself more with the Atman and not with the Sharira, Deha, what will happen? Then its desire will be less powerful over you. They would be less influencing, good or bad, of this worldly, materialistic instances. They will have less power over you. So how it will? So it will result into more steadiness and more control of the mind. Isn't it? So how to achieve Sthairya and Atma Vinigraha? How it will lead to knowledge? Knowledge is this, that you are Atman and you are not the body. So when you are practicing this, and that's how it will result into this practice of Sthairya and Atma Nigraha. Because you say you are Atman, you are one Akhanda Achala, Avikari, Akshaya, Kutastha. Kutastha मतलब जो एक ही जगह पे है, which is immovable, isn't it? So because it is consciousness, it is not to move that there is a space and then within that space there is a consciousness. It is not like that. So consciousness is one. It does not exist with a second. With a second means that there is no second when we talk about consciousness. Even second as the observer, there is no observer of that consciousness, of that reality. So because if that would become that, then that consciousness would become one and this person, the observer, would become second. It is not like that. Jnata, Jnaya and Jnana, these three becomes one. And then only that reality can be realized in its absolute sense. So it is not knowing that reality like any other thing of the world or any of the experience of the world. It is not that kind of experience. Because all our experiences of the world, they are through the agencies of mind and indriyas. And that is not that kind of experience. That's why it is called as aparokshanubhuti. It is aparokshanubhuti. It is not through the senses or not through the mind. That's why avang manasa gocharam. Beyond the indriyas and the mind. Mind cannot experience that. It is going beyond the mind that Sri Ramakrishna says it, bodhe bodhoy. That sense of that consciousness, that awareness knows itself. That's it. You do not know it. You realize that that is the true nature of the reality. You are in truth. You are that reality. And this is the apparent confusion of we come to think of ourselves something so and so. With so many attributes, with so many adjectives. And in this simulation, taking this as for granted, taking this as truth, we are moved by and we are pushed to pursue our so-called this apparent interest. And it has its effect. So, being free from this confusion and ignorance, this is what it will re-establish and reinforce that knowledge, that discrimination between material and spiritual. This is the import of this verse number 7, amanitvam adambhitvam ahimsa kshanti arjavam acharyopasanam shaucham stairyam atma vinigraha. Next it says, now further, verse number 8 says, indriyartheshu vairagyam anahankara evacha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. So jnana sadhanam, how you will get this knowledge? What is that knowledge? That knowledge of clear distinction. Sri Ramakrishna gives one very nice example. He says, see, he says, like coconut, a dried coconut. When it is not fully dried, if you shake it and that inside kernel is still attached to that outer shell, it doesn't move and therefore it doesn't make sound. Isn't it? That outer shell. So it is still sticking to it. And he said that when it's fully dried, so that inside kernel, it can freely move within that space of that coconut shell. So what happens? It makes that sound. It makes that sound. What does it mean? What does he want to say? That he says a jnani, the person who has realized the self truly, he will see this clear distinction between this deha and atma. So by deha, not only deha, by deha it means whole prapancha itself. Kshetra and kshetrajna. Kshetra and kshetrajna, he will see clear distinction. That means he is now salvaged from this confusion. It doesn't confuse him any further. That when he is saying I, that he is referring to the body, and when he is saying I at other times, he is referring to the true self. So, Sri Ramakrishna, he had his unique way of practicing this sadhana to the extreme. That was his nature. Taking any idea which crosses his mind, he used to practice it to the extreme. That was his nature. So, must have been here practiced, like we see that Kamini Kanchan Tyag, for example. So, giving up this greed or this wealth and money and attachment to these things. Now, he had turned that, even he forget about consciously, even without his knowing also, he could not touch money. Narendra had tested him, isn't it? Under his mattress he put a coin. And as if he shouted, he shrieked, as if somebody hit him with a big blow on his head. That kind of pain. And Narendra was shocked to see that how real this can be. It was beyond all logical explanation. How somebody can behave like that? What kind of a great metal detector was Sri Ramakrishna had developed within, that under his mattress somebody put a coin and he feels such a pain. How absolute must be his renunciation. We cannot even imagine these words, this idea, because we have never experienced ourselves, never tried ourselves anything even remotest like it. Nothing we have tried. Something is called muscle memory. You understand that? That you learn consciously something, like suppose piano, okay, and then or tabla, okay, or harmoniums or people. So when they become truly adept, truly expert, a professional player, So as soon as there is a tune, he doesn't have to find keys. His fingers can simply move, isn't it? Or there is a tabla player, he doesn't is reciting that bowls again, tadin, dhadin, etc., etc. He doesn't. His fingers simply moves. As soon as he changes the rhythm, the singer changes the rhythm, his fingers automatically moves. And as is the nature of the song, or even the expression of the song, he will choose the variation, isn't it? A fast and slow and etc., etc. The tempo he will maintain. So what earlier everything he has to do deliberately, now it has gone into, his subconsciousness. So it works like an instinct. Okay. Any idea, if you have practiced so deliberately that you have really become that idea. That's why Swamiji said at one place that religion is being and becoming. The transformation is the religion. The truth, the crux of religion is this, not talks. Talking is noise. Talking is noise. So noise is not religion. Realization is religion. Being that and becoming that. We have not tried anything like this. So we cannot understand what kind of renunciation Sri Ramakrishna must have practiced to arrive at such a stage that even to the lack of his knowledge, behind his back, somebody does something, and on what level his mind and that nature is working, God alone knows. And immediately translate into such kind of experience. We cannot even think of this thing. There are no explanation. It would be very good understood that Sri Ramakrishna, his renunciation was so absolute that he could not used to touch any metal. So most of the things in his houses, in his room was, or of the stones or wood, he could not used to carry that metal pot to go for his nature's call. Somebody has to carry, or when he is alone, he has to catch it with some kind of cloth. That was Sri Ramakrishna's predicament. Can you imagine? How absolute was his renunciation? We cannot imagine such state of mind. Can we do something, leave something, or realize something? We cannot even think of how that transformation, the state of transformation or state of that mind must be. It is so beyond the horizons of our imagination. We cannot comprehend that thing. That how does it happen? However, so what I was talking about, why this idea of Sri Ramakrishna came, I just missed that track, thinking about Sri Ramakrishna and his renunciation. So, anyhow, so here is the verse, Indriyartheshu vairagyam anahankara evacha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanudarshanam. So when this knowledge, when this discrimination, this that Sri Ramakrishna's example of that coconut and the shell, that realization, that being, what is matter and what is spirit, what is kshetra, kshetrajna, this clear distinction. So when this knowledge, or if this knowledge has to be established, how does it will translate into its practice? That is called as nididhyasana. So indriya artha means objects of your knowledge, sense objects, your senses and its objects. That is, objects means what does it deals into, like your sense of sight, chakshu. Okay, so what does it do? It sees the thing. So its object of knowledge is whatever can be seen, that is its object of knowledge. So similarly of other senses, for ear, the object of the senses is the sound. Okay, for nose it would be smell, etc. So indriya and indriya artha, its objects are indriya vishaya. Indriya artha is indriya vishaya. So indriya artheshu, this, because this indriya vishaya, if you indulge into it, it has different kind of experiences, sometimes pleasant and sometimes bitter. So naturally you will have preference and abhorrence to these sense objects. That which is something pleasing, you might like and you might be greedy about it, and something which is unpleasant, you might want to run away from to it, or you might be scared of it. You want to get escape or drive it away from yourself. You do not want to confront it. So indriya artheshu vairagyam, that there is no raga, there is no attachment, there is no attraction, and there is no indulgence into it, raga. That you like something, you become possessive about it, you become obsessive about it. Yes, very nice. Maybe person, maybe place, maybe anything else, anything material. So indriya vishaya, such indriya vishaya where you have such tendency of getting excessively indulgent about it, you are with raga, that is vairagya. That raga, the absence of raga is vairagya. Viraga, with raga, that there is no raga or attachment. So that thing might exist there, you might also be dealing, but you are neither possessive about it, neither you are indulgent about it, neither now it does not have any sway or any power to sway your emotions. That would be the state of vairagya. It does not have any influence over your mind. That thing might be good or bad. So that would be the right definition of vairagya. Indriyaartheshu vairagyam. So that would be the meaning. So how would it come? How would this idea come? It can only come if you are de-alienated from this confusion, from this false notion that you are this body-mind complex. You are this false identity, and you are more aligned, more nearer to this truer identity, that you are this consciousness, you are this pure self. And then these objects of the world, they will not have any influence over you, because these things will become, because how true these things are for us, that will define how much influence, how much power, how much control they will have over us. As soon as I relegate that to something unimportant, that this is not the truth and that's why it is immaterial, it does not much matter for me. As soon as you come to such kind of position, because this is life, according to your karma, there will be effects, there will be good and bad, and nobody can escape. Not to get too panicky about it and too excited or enthusiased about it. Let it go and focus yourself on the Atman. If person has such a stand and such a outlook, so he can maintain the position of Vairagya, true Vairagya. Vairagya is not hatefulness. It's a true neutrality and the balance of his mind to free from the influence of this material world. So there is wife, there is children or husband, or there are other society members, there are good and bad people in the society, your job, your compulsions of the job, duties, so everything else. Good and bad of the experience, ups and downs of the life, these things are there. Sometimes they are positive, sometimes they are not, etc. etc. How somebody can maintain this Vairagyam, in Indriyartheshu Vairagyam, unless and until he comes to a higher standpoint, higher viewpoint. If he remain on this plane of the world and of the material, that this alone is the truth, this material and sensory experiences are alone the truth, you cannot save yourself, you cannot maintain Vairagya, you cannot remain unafflicted by their assault. You are going to be being churned up by the reactions which yourself will produce. Immediately somebody say to you, how can you say to me, how dare you say to me like this, you do not have any sense, manners, etc., etc. You will be riled up. How you can behave like this? How you say that you do not have change? Every time you do like that, you cheat other people, etc., etc. For small things, you would be the in this way you would be carried away in this world which you have concocted, fabricated with so many assumptions. Most of the time we will say, instead of the truth itself, our assumptions and our projections, they itself are accentuating our experience of the world. कि आदमी बार बार ऐसा करता रहेगा, बार बार मैं उसको, ये पहली बार उसने गलती किया, मैं इसी समय इसको तोड़ दूंगा. अरे बाद में गलती करेगा कि नहीं करेगा. नाउ दिस इज वी आर वर्किंग ऑन द अजम्पशन. तूने पता नहीं, मैंने आज तेरी गलती पकड़ी, पता नहीं मुझे कितनी बार तूने पहले चीट किया होगा. अरे यू आर अगेन वर्किंग ऑन द अजम्पशंस, एंड दैट्स व्हाई इट इज नाउ दैट एक्सपीरियंस इज एक्सेंचुएटेड. Nobody knows. Even you are not claiming that this is the truth, but you are taking it for granted. Must have been. Total business of your insurance. Total business of brands. कहाँ ये ब्रांड है, मतलब ये क्वालिटी है, so you pay something more about it. हाँ तो इस ब्रांड का है तो अच्छा ही होगा, है ना. तो ये जब बोल रहे ये बात तो सच ही होगी, ये ब्रांड तो ऐसा कुछ करेगा नहीं, क्योंकि वो ब्रांड रेपुटेशन का हम लोगों को एक अश्योरेंस है, नहीं तो कुछ खराब हो जाएगा तो मतलब लोग कंप्लेंट करेंगे वगैरह वगैरह. एवरी टाइम यू आर पेइंग एक्स्ट्रा इन डिफरेंट वेज, because it is not only money, your money has come from the labor, time and all resources which we have spent for it, isn't it? So money is just a token. You are sacrificing everything that. So Vairagyam, that will only be possible to maintain. Einstein said something in that tone. He said that you cannot solve the problem on the plane, on the very plane on which they were created in the first place. That is always this puzzle of this, especially spiritual struggle. Solving this problem is an illusion. You never solve the problem. You always become strong and able to ignore them, and that's how you rise above them. By solving the problem, you actually lend legitimacy to the problem. Problem is the illusion itself. Illusion becomes real because you accept them as real. You are fighting with the shadow that it is being a tiger or something else. You don't fight. It does not have any power. It becomes real and alive because of you, because you consider it's real. This is the case. So unless you have a higher standpoint of view, this puzzle of life cannot be solved. So how this Vairagya becomes Jnana Sadhana, and practice of this Jnana itself, Nididhyasana, in this way, that you know yourself, that you are Atman. And you lose yourself from these clutches of this Maya, of this illusion, of this bandhana, of these desires and different varied experiences of this world. This is the way. This is the meaning of Indriyartheshu Vairagyam. The next thing is Anahankara Evacha. This idea is all the more difficult. To not having Ahankara. Now this Ahankara, this word, if is to understood very well, in terms of the Vedanta, so Ahankara means not necessarily it means rudeness. In our day-to-day conversation and or our day-to-day life, where we use this word Ahankara, that if somebody is rude, somebody is not polite, what? Pride. So in his pride, in his or her own pride, he is not respectful, congenial, and amicable with others. And we say so too much, very egoistic. बहुत अहंकार हुआ इस आदमी को. But in the context of the Vedanta, if we see this word has little deeper meaning, and we understand that how in our colloquial way, why we refer ahankara or this egoism in this way. So this egotisticness or this egotism, this is very crude expression of that ahankara gone pretty bad. But very theoretically, very technically we are speaking, ahankara is a very fundamental principle. And it is that confusion, it is that very confusion when the pure consciousness, which can never be material, comes to think of itself as material, as a combination of material and consciousness, Chit Jada Granthi. It is the first product of this ignorance, this Adya Avidya, this fundamental Avidya. From it, this Ahankara, this notion of exclusivity that I exist, this itself is Ahankara. I exist apart from others. This is called ahankara. Existence itself is Atman, but I exist separate from you. This is called as ahankara. So very fundamentally, in a very purest form, this ignorance is the separation. Sri Ramakrishna gave again one example. He said, as if on the surface of the water, you draw a line with a stick, and now you see that surface of the water divided into two parts, and this is what the ahankara is like. Okay, so this imaginary line of separation come to experience as I and you. This is called as ahankara. So aham, that is the I truly, which is at the shape of this true Atman. Aham is aham brahmasmi. That I am Brahman, that Brahman come to think, it is of the shape of that self. That's why ahankara, which is not it. That's why ahankara. So, what does it mean by anahankara? That when that self-identification with this false notion will be absent. That as we said, as we discussed, as in that example of this coconut shell, when there would be complete separation of the outer shell and inner kernel, what will happen? That excessive, this obsessive behavior, that will cease. He might have to still take care of the interest, that this is my wife, this is my husband, this is my daughter, etc., etc., etc. And he might have to still work. But now he is fully conscious that this play is going on. I am playing the play. I do not necessarily get riled up or too excited about it. So ऐसा कहते हैं कि एक बार गांव में पहले वो जतरा नाटक इत्यादि होता था किसी फंक्शन के समय, तो कीचक वध एक नाटक होने लगा, कीचक वध। तो कीचक भी मतलब बड़ा एक पहलवान एक गांव से था और भीम उसको मारता है, तो भीम दूसरे गांव से था। दोनों पहलवान थे, तो ऐसे पर्सनालिटी लिए गए थे, उन लोगों को डायरेक्टर ने सब समझाया कि ऐसा ऐसा रोल है। तो पर जैसे नाटक चालू होगा, आखिरी मतलब क्लाइमैक्स सीन चालू हो गया, तो एक अंतराल के बाद तो कीचक को डाउन होना है, कीचक को मरना है, भीम को तो उसको मारना है। So what happened is, so both side parties, there were supporters of this one fellow who was playing part of Bhima. There was party villagers from who were the supporters of this other fellow who was playing the part of Bhima and Kichaka. Okay. But as soon as that fight, this punches or whatever that force they are playing, all that fight, they forgot that they are playing the part and they become real. And people also forgot who is Kichaka and who is Bhima. They are cheering up their each other's fellow participant. That beat him like this, throw him like this, punch him like this. And the whole plot of the play remain one-sided and Kichaka is beating Bhima like anything. So that is the condition of our experience. We are getting too carried away. And on the contrary, if you see, even if from the perspective of your material interest, you will enjoy this world the best, you will be able to perform your duties best, You will be able to express and give vent to your inner potential, inner faculties and energies to the best possible way if you can live this life. If you do not become too intermixed with this confusion and rather you pull yourself, then you would be the best performing person. Whenever your performance has decreased, subdued, you have underperformed, it is because of your emotional confusion, which we saw at the very beginning of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The great warrior like Arjuna, he is confused, he is emotionally overwhelmed. It is our condition day and night. If we would be little pulled back, with that little detachment, with that little discrimination, with that little knowledge, you will be able to think your duties very clearly, able to take decisions very rationally, and you would be the biggest beneficiary and would be taking out the most of whatever this life is bringing to you. If you just refuse to get carried away with this apparent and prevalent notion of life and stick to the Shastras, so it can immediately elevate your experience of life, how you live the life. Indriyartheshu vairagyam anahankara evacha. This ahankara, this I am this and that and so many attributes and adjectives, you get intermixed and identify with them as such. They might be apparent reality, alright. You are black, tall, whatever physically or intellectually, you are so smart or not, socially very having high status or not, etc. They can be various points, aspects of this reality. You do not have to lose yourself absolutely into it. You just play along with the odds, isn't it? So it can immediately elevate your experience if you do not lose yourself into it. So this is the meaning of this discrimination. This is what I was saying, that these last now chapters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, they are about the nididhyasana, that how to practice this truth into the life. And from that perspective, we are seeing these verses. So here, the half portion of it, Indriyartheshu vairagyam anahankara evacha. So, next part of it, we will discuss in the next class. Next Sunday hoga? Next Sunday, 5:30. Okay then. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.